Welcome to the machining side of things on the MAM72 with my buddy Leo. We're going to talk accuracy, precision, kind of a synonym of that. We're going to talk pallet change. We're going to talk about how this is going to help people run through the nights. We're even going to bring in a successful customer that invested in this at a very young age. So I'm excited to talk about all of this, but Leo is the expert. I always tell you guys, I bring the experts along because it's not me for sure. Leo, let's talk about the MAM72 and some of the benefits for everyone watching out there that's learning about, okay, well, we got to get in automation, we got to get into lights out machining, and we got to have accurate parts that come off of the machine. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So yeah, basically a pallet changer gives you the ability to have all your setups left in the machine. You know, you've got 15 pallets on this machine in particular. So you basically set your job up, leave the tools in the tool magazine, and basically when your customer calls, says they need parts, your setup's done. That's the idea.
So when it comes to pallet change, there's a common theme that goes, well, automation, I got to have hundreds of parts, right? Not the case. You can actually set this up for small batch sizes. How does that actually work?
That's actually kind of the best feature of this, is that flexibility that it gives you. You can just, you know, if you have work holding that's, modular work holding, your setups are done. Anything you want to put in there it's basically ready to go. That's the idea. Flexibility is the key. The pallet scheduling software is simple. Our machines with the pallet changers, it's integrated. It's not, there's nothing too complicated about it. It's all ready to go, integrated tightly, and simple. Simplicity, flexibility, that high mix, low volume, that's kind of our bread and butter.
High mix, low volume, flexibility, you nailed it. It's one of my favorite words to use when we talk about Matsuura, flexibility. And in the industry we're in, we have to be that way. Batch sizes continue to get reduced. Now we're looking at the pallet change here. When we talk about, okay, maybe I have one job, maybe I have 5 jobs, maybe I've maxed out the pallets on here. Regardless, in order to support this many opportunities and low batches, we have to have either redundant tooling or a big tool holder. So let's talk a little bit about that aspect of the machine.
Yeah, absolutely. 330 tools on this machine, up to 530 depending, but this particular one has 330. And that's the idea. You've got a bunch of pallets, you need a bunch of tools. So you've got a bunch of different jobs typically set up in your pallet changer. So you're going to need all the tools for all those jobs, plus redundant tools. That's the thing. If you've got a broken tool overnight, it needs to be able to continue to do work and not just stop. You know, you got to be able to continue, move on to the next pallet, continue running what you can. Even if you broke a tool, it's got to be able to continue running what it can run without you doing anything. That's the idea. That's the key. So,
and automation as a whole, we all think, well, I need to do it. I have to do it. It's how we compete on a global scale, right? But there's so many different intricacies that go into it. So we've talked about pallet change, and we've talked about the tools that go into it, but it can be coolant, it can be the cobots or robots that go into it. I've seen some great setups with your partners over at Productivity that are utilizing the measuring systems to go along with it. But in combination with being able to leave and not be scared to come back to the office the next day and find 4 or 5 parts that are scrapped, that's where precision comes in. Let's talk about precision in the 5-axis world and the difference between when I'm right on a part or when I'm several inches away from the part and how that actually works.
yeah, so basically you've got to have a really accurate machine. Typically the rotary, tilt and rotary axis have to be very accurate because, like you said, you're machining a part right down on the center of the table. That's one thing, but once you get way out here, those inaccuracies magnify. So you really have to start with a very accurate machine, and your parts are just going to come out better. Simple as that. And then the 5-axis thing, the fewer times you can chuck up the part, the better off you are. Every time you handle the part, that's inaccuracies that you're adding into the part. So you really do have to grab it once, and that's it. Hold on to it once, do as much as you can, and then sure, there'll be a second op typically, but the fewer ops you can do, the better off you are all the time.
Gosh, I hope that's not oversighted for anyone watching right now. The fewer amount of setups you can do, reducing the possibility of user or operator error, and we're really getting into that fine-tuning of the precision. Now, Leo, you're the star of today, and I like when you're the star, but one of my favorite stories that comes from Matsuura is the fact that a company was able to do the same amount of working hours in 9 months that they were able to do in 5 years based on their ability to keep this thing running through the night. Stories like that happen all the time with Matsuura, don't they?
Absolutely. We hear that over and over again, and it's amazing. We love hearing that stuff. Getting to customers and seeing what they've been able to do is always an awesome learning experience for us. Even though we drink the Kool-Aid, of course, but it's you're getting out to customers and seeing what they're putting, all the work they're putting in, and they teach us stuff all the time about really how this is done. It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Another one of my favorite stories is when the customers can actually go home to their families on weekends or nights because they're not running those shifts, and they're still getting equal, if not more, workout and